What if there was a way that parents could have a coach on their side helping them help their kids get where they both want to be? Is being motivated for sports, punishment, conditioning, are those things bad? Having a player-coach relationship is very, very important. It can't ever be player-friend, coach-friend relationship. It has to be player-coach relationship, and I think that's the same way with the parent. I can tell you this, the coaches that motivated me and had high expectations of me and challenged me to be the best person and player that I could be every day, those are the coaches I remember. Those are my favorite coaches, and I think they had the most effect on me of who I am today. You know what? Enough talk already. I'm ready to get the show started. Let's get this thing going. Somebody light this candle.
And we are ready to get started here on NoTimeoutsLeft.com at our fabulous NoTimeoutsLeft.com studios. We're going through a little bit of a renovation right now, so please excuse the mess. I'm Coach Okra, and today we're going to do our initial episode to see if anybody even cares about this stuff. Maybe they don't. Maybe parenting is so easy that anybody can do it, and there's already stuff out there that is available, and no one even cares about this. But I think I have a different perspective. It may not be. I could be totally wrong. No one may even like what I'm going to talk about. But I have an idea that I think will help parents be better parents. And when I look in the jails, when I look in the rehab places, when I look at the crime on TV, when I look at those things, I know all those kids, all those criminals, they're all children. They all have parents. Where are the parents? What happened to the parenting? What went on? If you don't know why we're here, then you're not going to be able to be a great parent. Why are we here? Timeout number one. Why are we here? If you don't know why we're here, then it's very difficult to be a great parent. Here's the 3 ways that most people parent, just like my parents did. Number 2, opposite of what my parents did. And number 3, I just did the best I could. I'm just doing the best I can. Well, let me suggest an additional way. Whenever people ask, why are we here? They've been asking this for all ages. The answer is very simple. We're here for relationships. Relationships. What's the first relationship that you remember? Probably not your OBGYN, probably not your delivering doctor. The first relationship you probably remember is your parents. Then the next thing you remember is maybe your grandparents or your aunts and uncles. Then comes along other caregivers. Maybe you're in a daycare center. You remember Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Rhonda, Mrs. Sally from daycare. Then you get to know your siblings. There's a relationship there with your siblings. As you get a little bit older, in the 2-3-year-old age, now you have friends. You have friends' parents. You have their siblings that you become friends with also sometimes, not all the time. But then you get to where you have classmates. Then you get to have teammates. Those relationships are different than the other relationships. That's why relationships are so important, because being able to deal with different types of relationships is very important when you're a child. So as a parent, we have to be able to teach our children how to deal and cope and get through different types of relationships. Another one is, as they get a little bit older, teachers and principals, maybe at elementary school. I didn't want to go see my principal, that's for sure. The teachers are there on an ongoing basis. Elementary school, pre-K, even, like I said earlier, in the daycare area. Then, as you get into the 4th, 5th, 6th grade area, maybe even sooner for some kids, you start dealing with coaches. You start dealing with instructors, dance, music, sports, even driving at some point. When they learn how to drive, you're going to deal with a driving instructor. That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. As you get a little bit older, 6th, 7th, 8th grade probably, then you start dealing with girlfriend-boyfriend relationships. Those are very different than the other relationships that we've talked about so far. Then after the girlfriend-boyfriend, all the other things still continue. The coaches, the teachers, the friends, the parents of your friends. Then the last thing is, not the last thing, but the next step is children. Now that you're a parent, what is your relationship with your children? And what is, number 11, what is your relationship with the friends, parents of your children? Their friends, parents. And then finally, and most intrinsic, is grandparents. Now, when you have grandchildren. You're the grandparent now, and you have grandchildren. It's a circle of life. To be a professional parent, and one of the things we want to talk about here is the journey to professional parenting, or professional parenting journey. That's what we're working with. In order to be a professional parent, you must prepare your child to deal and cope and struggle through every one of these relationships, every one of them. If you don't, that's where trouble sets in. And we have to be able to talk about goals. When we talk about these relationships, there's some real good goals that we want to discuss. We'll do that later in our goals section. But let's take our first timeout. If you have questions, if you have successes that you've done, and we'll go over what successes are later on, the successes that we like to hear about, send us an email, coachokra@notimeoutsleft.com. Also, check out our website, notimeoutsleft.com. We have our Facebook page. We have our YouTube channel. I'm sure we're going to be on Rumble and some other places. We have our podcast. Several podcasts are already out there right now. Probably have 4 or 5 already out there. But this is our first video podcast, video vlog, whatever you want to call it these days. And I hope you enjoy it. And we're getting to section number 2. But before we do, send your successes, send your questions to coachokra@notimeoutsleft.com. Part number 2. In order to do the journey to professional parenting, we have to have something to help us with that journey. And I knew that that today was the day that I was going to do my first video blog, my first video for No Timeouts Left. And I was really struggling, even yesterday. What is the thing? What's the path that I want to get to? What's the journey? How am I going to help parents get to where they want to be and help their children get to where they want to be? And as I'm doing my research and checking my resources and just making sure, validating the things that I'm going to talk about and the things that we're going to discuss here on No Timeouts Left, I wanted to find that thing that was going to bring it all together. And I found it. I found it last night in the late hours. And once I found it, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep last night. I was looking so forward to doing this today. I couldn't hardly sleep. I was just thinking about the things I was going to say, thinking about how I was going to say them, and I was looking forward to being here and doing this today because I think you're going to like this. Maybe you won't. Who knows? But I think you're going to like this, and we're going to call this Professional Parenting Verbage. Professional Parenting Verbage. We're going to do different short videos separate from our normal No Timeouts Left parenting. These are going to be things that you're going to be able to memorize, that you're going to be able to use on a daily basis when you become a parent. You could probably even memorize them even before you get to be a parent. These are things that you're going to want to say to your children on an ongoing basis. They're going to be one for every day of the month. When you get to the end of the month, you start over on number 1. I'm hoping if you start this for infants, and not that they're going to be able to hear what you're saying, but as a coach, one of the things I do is I know that I'm going to have to say the same thing 200 times to each player. They're not going to hear what I say the first 100 times. They won't even know what I said. About 101, all of a sudden they say, you know what, I think I've heard that before. Maybe 110. They finally get it. 115. They notice, hey, I think I've got something going here. The things he's saying, I think I'm going to actually use those things. Well, if you can start these, even though these aren't for infants, if you start saying these things to your infant child, talking to them, building that bond, building that relationship that we talked about in the first section of, it's number, 10 on the list of where you are, but now you're having the children. Now you have to prepare your kids for all those different relationships. How do you do that? What is the steps to do? How do you become a great parent? And we're going to call it professional parenting. Professional parenting journey. And we're going to be on our way. These short, concise, easily worded, memorable professional parenting Verbage videos are going to be for you. You're going to enjoy them. Somebody way smarter than us came up with these things, and somebody way smarter than them gave it to them. But this will really help you become a professional parent. Say it on an ongoing basis to your children daily. Each one will be something you can say on each day of the month. Then at the end of the month, you start over the next month. But if you start early, by the time your kids are 3, you're going to have memorized all these, and you'll be able to do them without even reading them, without even looking at them. By the time your kids are 10, they should know these. They should have these things memorized, and it should be in their normal course of walk as they go on throughout their life. And hopefully we can create that circle of life that when it comes back around, that they will be able to use these same things, these same professional parenting verbages, videos for their children. Remember, this is not my stuff. This is from somebody way smarter than us who got it from somebody way smarter than them. Let's take our second time out. As you become more professional in your parenting, or those who have done things in the past, one of the things that I do, that I love to do, is when I see successful parents, and we're going to go into what successful parenting looks like and how you know if you were a professional parent, or if you've been a professional parent. I want to ask those parents. I like to say, how did you do what you did? It wasn't easy. There were some specific things that you did. Did you have a plan? Did you know what you were doing? What kind of strategies and techniques did you use for your parenting with your children? And most of them are very happy to say, you know what? I knew right from the beginning what I was going to do, and I did it right from the beginning, and I held throughout the whole time. And I talk to these parents all the time. When I go to weddings of their kids, a lot of them played sports for me. I go to their weddings, and I talk to those parents, and I say, how did you do it? What did you do? Because when you get to the end of now your kids are getting married, now they're starting to have kids, now you can see when those kids are being trained by your kids, similar to the way you did it. If you did the professional parenting Verbage video program, then it's that circle of life. When I coach kids in sports, football, golf, baseball, volleyball, whatever it is, the fun part about it is after they finish high school, after they go to college playing that sport, and then they come back and they coach for me or they coach at another organization, whatever it is, the fun part is I see them saying the same things to the kids that they're coaching that I said to them that they didn't like. Like, well, man, that coach was really challenging. He pushed me all the time. I never liked him. But here they are now saying the same things to these new students, these new kids, these new athletes that I said to them so many years ago. And if you're a professional parent, if you want to be a professional parent, you're using professional parenting skills, then it's going to be so awesome to have your own children say those similar things to your grandchildren now as it's going on. And those are the kind of successes that I want to hear, that I want to read about. So go to Coach Okra at notimeoutsleft.com. Send us an email on the successes that you've had. If you have a toddler right now, I don't want to know about the successes that you had as an infant, as a parent. If you're a teenage parent right now and you feel like you've had some successes when they were schoolers, I don't really need to hear about that right now. We need to see what happens at the end. What happens when they get married, now they have kids. That's when you can tell if what you did was a success or not. Not when they're a teenager, you don't know yet. Not when they're in college, you don't know yet. It's when they get further on down the road, and we'll talk about those things. Our professional parenting Verbage videos, most of the words are going to be for your children specifically. But some of them are more self-talk, where you're reminding yourself that you're on the right path. That's where we came up with the journey, the professional parenting journey. When you're watching these videos and you're hearing these things on the podcast, Some of it is self-taught, so you'll be able to have an idea, am I on the right track? Am I saying the right things? And as we go through our different parenting programs, you'll be able to see, you know what? I see the progress. I see the things going on. We want to get to step 12, but before we get to step 12, we need to go to step 4, then 6, then 9. We don't want to go right to 12. It doesn't work that way. You don't teach your kids how to cook when they're infants. We don't just go there. There's a process that goes through it. And the professional parenting video vlogs, I think you'll appreciate. And let's go to number 3. Why me? Who am I? I'm just a regular dude. Well, when I was in college, I had 2 goals after college. One of them was I wanted to own a chain of daycare centers. So I did all the certifications, all the requirements to find out exactly how to run a daycare through the states, through the federal licenses, whatever it took. I found a place that I was going to use. I was really working toward a lot of the things that you need to do to start a daycare center. One of the things I wanted to do before I opened up a daycare center was I wanted to work at a daycare center. I wanted to see how it's done and see if I like it and see if it's something that was for me. So I went and worked for one of the largest daycare center chains in the country at the time. And I don't know why they hired me, because I was, I guess, one of the only males that was there other than the owner. And he wasn't there very much. But when I was there, they put me in charge of the 2 and 3-year-olds. They put me in charge at nap time. They put me in charge of the 3 and 4-year-olds at lunchtime. They put me in charge of the after schoolers. I went and picked them up in the bus and went around to all the schools and picked them up and brought them back to the daycare center and did sports stuff with them, especially the dudes there. And they absolutely loved it. And they couldn't wait till I came back and every day. And they couldn't wait to do the things we were doing out in the playground area. We hated it when it rained. But when I was there every day with the 2 and 3-year-olds, when I was there every day with the 4 and 5-year-olds, when I was there every day with the after schoolers, I saw a lot of things going on. I saw how the parents, when they drop off the kids, I saw that interaction. And I saw that relationship, there was some separation anxiety there. And the kids, a lot of times for a while, didn't want to even go in. There was a big separation anxiety that the kids would cry and bawl and whatever. So I came up with what we call a slide-through window. That instead of walking your kid in and dropping them off to one of the caregivers, you have them jump out the window, down a slide, and they go right into some plastic balls, and boom, they're ready to go. All the separation anxiety is already passed over. I also came up with the idea of videoing classrooms, because every day when the parents would come to pick up their kids, the first thing they would say is, don't let them know I'm here. I want to watch how they interact with the other kids. Well, this was a long time ago, back in the 80s, and no one had anything like this back then. Now you can watch them online all the time, and you probably don't even spend much time doing that anymore because you get to see it so often. But having the parents be able to see what was going on, the interaction with number 5 on our list of relationships is friends and people at the daycare center. Parents wanted to see how they interact with those kids. The other goal I had when I was in college of what I wanted to do was I wanted to have a sports instruction organization. I had a name for it back then, and it was probably going to be more of a football thing. But what I learned in about 25 years ago is I could put both of them together. By doing the things I was doing at the daycare center I was working at. And, oh, by the way, I worked there from 10 a.m. to close. And then I was a bouncer at one of the local clubs from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. or later. I was doing that on an ongoing basis while I was just after I graduated from college. It was great to have adult time and also be able to do what I wanted to do and learn about kids at daycare and the process and the dealing with parents and dealing with the interactions of kids while they were there. But whenever I wanted to do my instruction organization, it started out by people who knew who I was and they just wanted to get some quarterback lessons, or they wanted to get some infield lessons, or they wanted to get some pitching lessons, or they wanted to get some volleyball lessons. It started out smaller. But then I started incorporating that instruction with the daycare program, in the fact that I would go around to daycares and ask them if they had a program where someone came in and give sports instruction to the kids during the day. So I had a round of 10 or 12 different daycare centers, and I would go to those daycare centers, and from as soon as the kids got back from school, I would have a class of 8 to 10 kids, and we would go outside and we would work on football stuff. We'd work on golf stuff. We'd work on tennis stuff. We'd work on soccer. We'd work on basketball. We'd work on baseball, all those kind of things. And we did it once a week. And then I'd go to another one on Tuesday, another one on Wednesday, another one on Thursday, another one on Friday. And I think we had a rotation of once a month or whatever it was, but maybe twice a month. So that way we could get there enough times. And it was like $40 a kid or something like that for a month. So basically that was 2 sessions. So they were paying $20 an hour for me to teach them those lessons. And that was, way back in the 90s. Well, then somewhere along the way, I started coaching for a club, for an organization. I started my own, and it was very successful. We got to where we had quite a few teams. What I realized was that while you're doing the coaching of 15, 20, 40, 100 kids on a daily basis, that's a daycare center. When you have practice from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 9 o'clock at night, those 5 hours, you're taking care of kids. You have to keep them entertained. Yeah, you're showing them sports stuff. Yeah, they want to be there sometimes. But you're working on stuff and be able to corral those kids and be able to entertain all those kids at the same time. When I was doing different camps at different schools, I mean, you'd have 20, 40, 60 kids all in one place. And it's only me and maybe one other person that's dealing with all those kids at the same time. And whenever you're doing that, you see how they interact. You see what works with a large group. You see what works with a smaller group when you have your own team of 6 or 8 players. Well, when I was able to realize that my daycare dream goal and my sports instruction dream goal could combine, that's when I really took off with what we do in our sports organizations and how I coach and how much I enjoy the children, how much I love to be there, and I know that I'm affecting their lives by the things that I say. If I put them in this particular spot on the court or this particular spot on the field, I know that just this one little move could be a lifetime of progress, or me changing them from defensive end to middle linebacker, maybe just the spark that they needed to go on to a higher level of play. Me taking them from being a setter to being a left side hitter could be just the catalyst to get them where they wanted to be and help them, because maybe they were struggling at the other position. And I have to be able to know and recognize those things. I have different ways that I use to motivate the kids. And all of that stuff is coming into fruition. So I thought, what if there was a way that I could get those techniques, those motivation styles to other parents, and maybe they could use some of the stuff that we do as coaches to be able to get that to their kids. I was a multiple sport athlete. I was one of the top athletes in the country coming out of high school. San Diego State and Arizona State wanted me to come play baseball there. I decided to go to the number 1 football team in the country. You all know what it is. It's the most famous football team ever. If you can think of any famous football team, this team is more famous than that team. So I had great coaches. I had Hall of Fame coaches in volleyball. I had Hall of Fame coaches, or coaches that were at least mentioned by Hall of Fame football players that coached me. At least 3 of them when I was playing football. I had Hall of Fame, maybe not baseball coaches, maybe not baseball, but at least Hall of Fame football coaches, Hall of Fame volleyball coaches, and golf coaches. I've been a +4 handicap since I've been 46, and I'm probably not as good right now. I don't get to play as much anymore, but I'm still at least under a 5 handicap. So I learned from the best ball striker of all time. No one questions it. So what I want to do is take some of their techniques that they use when they're coaching and some of their motivation things that they used on me and they used on Hall of Fame players, and see if I can help you as a parent to be able to do those things for your kids. Where is my notes? I already said that. I said that. Okay. Here's a funny one. Whenever I go anywhere, and my nieces or my nephews or my friends are there, and they have young kids, they have grandkids or whatever it is, guess who they refer to as the baby whisperer, the kid whisperer? They always send them to me. Wherever we're going, they say, hey, go see Coach Okra over there. Go see Coach Okra. He'll be able to take care of them. And I have 4 or 5 kids from 3 or 4 different families that I'm doing stuff with and keeping entertained for a long time. So sometimes I pull my hat down to whatever I'm gonna get over there. No, I don't. But the kids enjoy the things I do, and it's very fun and intrinsic value, enjoyable to be able to work with all kinds of kids. I tell the parents of the kids that I coach how much I love them and how much I'm hoping to do the best for them, and I work hard to do the best for them. I work diligently to find out how can I help them be the player they want to be and get to where they want to be. And I ask all of them the very first day of practice, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here at this practice? And they say, I want to get better at this sport. I want to get better at this position. I want to make varsity by the time I'm in 9th grade. I want to be all state here. I want to, whatever it is. And I want to try to help them get there. The great part about it is they want to be there. They want to be there. Who is this for? Why am I doing this? Well, there's 2 things. One is, you as a parent, a lot of parents teach their kids how to play a guitar. They teach their kids how to play a piano. They teach their kids how to play a musical instrument. They teach their kids how to play baseball. They teach their kids how to play softball. They teach their kids dance. They teach their kids cheerleading. They teach their kids other sports, driving also. But there comes a time when the parent says, you know what? I want the best for my kid. I want somebody who knows more than me about this. When I was coaching youth football not too long ago, I wasn't coaching a team that had my kid on the team, but the head coach had a kid on the team. The assistant coaches all had kids on the team. My kids were in the drill team. And I was looking for an opportunity to coach somewhere because I was going to be at the games anyway. So I found this team. The coach says after first day of practice, okay, all the parents come up. We want to introduce the coaches to the parents. Well, nobody knew who I was. So the head coach says, can you go first? Sure, I'll go first. I played at one of the top universities in football. And we went to this bowl game, went to this bowl game. I was a all county, all district at these 3 or 4 positions and things of that nature. And I just said that stuff and I just backed up and, moved out of the way. And then he says, okay, coach number 2. Not that I was coach number 1. I'm just saying the next coach. And he said something to the nature of, well, I've been a fireman for a long time. I never really played football, but I enjoy being here and helping the kids. Then the next one, go ahead to the next one. Well, I played up through 8th grade and really enjoy football. Love watching on TV. Okay, then the next one. Then they said, well, I never really got to play in high school, but I came out for varsity. Didn't make it, but I'm glad to be here. Well, as soon as the head coach was one of these similar paragraphs as well. But after that meeting, all the parents came up to me and said, can you work with my kid on this? Can you work with my kid on this? Is there any way we can get private lessons? Can you work with my kid doing this, that, and this and that? And the same thing in volleyball, the same thing in baseball, the same thing in football, same thing in golf. Once they find out, here's somebody who knows more than me about this, then here is their chance to help their kid get where they want to be. I want to give them the best that I can, the best I know about in the situation that I'm in my location, in my geographic location. Okay, well, a lot of times that's me. And when it is, I enjoy the opportunity to get to work with kids who are passionate about what they want to do. I don't want to work with the kids who the parents say, you go do this. I don't want to work with the kids whose friends are there. I want to be with my friends. That's no fun, and they're not going to like it at all because we work hard. And when I'm challenging the kids, when I'm motivating them, if they don't care about being there, then it's not going to work. Well, what if there was a way for parents to go to club parenting, select parenting, and becoming a great parent? You may say, I don't really know how to be a parent. I'm just doing the best I can. Or I'm being a parent same way my parents were to me. Or I'm being a parent the opposite way that my parents were to me. Wouldn't you like to be the best parent? Is there a way that you could see the same thing for yourself that you saw for your kids? At some point, maybe someone knows how I can keep my kid from going to jail, from getting on drugs, from having to go to rehab, from doing the things that I'm hoping I don't have to do. I don't want to have to make funeral arrangements for my son. I don't want to have to make rehab arrangements for my kid. I don't want to go find him in jail all the time. I don't want to have the principal and the superintendent and people calling me that my kid got expelled and whatnot and getting into the bad things and dropping out of school and whatever it is. I want to prevent that. Well, you can't prevent it when it's already going on. You're already in trouble now. You got to start doing planning ahead of time. And in order to do that, you have to know the specific techniques, the specific guidance, the verbiage, what to say, how to say it for your children as starting young. I can't help you with the toddler stage if you're already in the schooler stage. I can't help you with the schooler stage if your kid is already in the high school stage. It can't happen. With the professional parenting verbiage videos, that'll give you a start. It's not all of it. We're going to have a lot more things going on than that. Some of you may say, well, I'm already a parent. I already have a toddler. I already have a schooler. What do I do now? I can't take care of what's already happened. None of this stuff is going to make any difference for what's already gone on. We're going to have to pick it up from right now. And the professional parenting verbiage is really for you to start when the kids are infants. Some parents, some potential parents talk to me about how they sang to their child while they were still in the womb, how they talked to them, how they read to them while they were still in the womb. These are things you can do. The professional parenting verbiage videos are things that you can memorize. They're going to be on the podcast. And you'll be able to memorize those on a daily basis and say those to your kids even before they're born. But if you'll do it from infant to age 3, by the time they're 3, you're going to have all of them memorized. You're going to know exactly what it is you're saying, exactly why you're saying. It's also self-talk like we talked about. But if they're already toddlers, I can't help you with the infant and toddler stage. It's going to be a struggle. But I can help you with the schooler and high schooler age, and then on after that the professional parenting verbiage videos will also help you on the later ones, preparing them for those things, keeping them on the straight and narrow. I want you as a parent to be the best parent you can be. But don't say I'm the best parent I can be if I'm just doing what I've always done. And you know what happens. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. And I want you as a parent to be able to know what are specific things to do. And we're going to go over a lot of categories. This is just the beginning video. This is just to get started, to see if it's even of interest to you. You know what? Forget I said that. This is only for my kids. I want my kids to have an advantage. If they choose to use some of the things that we talk about here, then fine. But I want my kids to have advantage, so this is not for you. This is for no one else, only for my kids. So don't even bother. We're going to take our third time out. As we get into more successes, as we talk about our goals of how we're going to recognize where we had successes, as we talk about those things, I want you, if you would, send me an email. Let me know. My kid's 26. They've been married for 3 years. They have 2 kids. You wouldn't believe what great parents they are. You know what that means? That means that you did something good, that you had some successes in there. Maybe there was a struggle at 13 or 15 or whatever. Maybe there was a struggle at 21, but all of a sudden you were able to find a way to get past all that. Epiphany happened, or you came up with an idea, a different way to look at it. We're going to go over plenty of strategies on how to deal with situations where they get in trouble. And now what do I do? If you're already late in the professional parenting videos, the verbiage videos, if you're late in that, we're going to go over how can I go from here? How can I start and catch up to where I need to be with my child to make sure that I don't have to make funeral arrangements for them, that I don't have to go pick them up from the principal's office, that I don't have to go find out that they're in jail, that I don't have to take them to rehab, that I don't have fist fights with my kids, and I can't invite them to holidays because I'm afraid they're going to have fist fights with me or their mom or whatever. I have plenty of experience, knowledge base of different things, and we're gonna call these things Steve from St. Louis and Stacy from St. Paul. And so I'm gonna have different parents come on that have certain experiences and situations that you might enjoy, that you may also benefit from, and have them talk about some of the things that they do and where they're having some successes in those areas. And there's a lot of them. We probably got 25 or 30 different sets of situations that you're going to be very interested in if it pertains to you. Not everybody has a child in this particular situation, but many of my friends, many of my acquaintances, they had children in situations that maybe you have your child in that same situation, and maybe you're looking for a little help. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're going to take care of this all by yourself. And if you are, good luck to you and have a nice life. I can't wait to hear about your successes later on down the road. However, this is something that's going to be very informative, advantageous for you as a parent, advantageous for you, for your children. And if you'll give it a chance, just give it a shot. It may not work. May not work for everybody. These things that I'm trying to get parents to do, they're not new things, but they're things that successful parents do that have their children move on down the road and continue that circle of life. And right now, we have no timeouts left. And I will see you guys next week. Coach Okra, send me an email with successes and questions to Coach Okra at notimeoutsleft.com.